The more you seek solace for your pain, the more true peace seems to slip away from you. If you feel stuck or lost, know that you aren't incapable or spiritually slow. You are simply using reverse logic to try and find relief. The truth is, you are trying to use the mirror to change your own face. This is the paradox that keeps us imprisoned. We seek the remedy where only the anesthetic exists, ignoring that true healing doesn't lie in soothing the wound, but in the courage to look at it without filters. In this video, I'm going to show you that by reversing this order and prioritizing truth over comfort, what would normally take years of therapy and anguish to resolve can be transmuted in just a few weeks. We are going to access what I call the transparency frequency, the state where the soul no longer needs crutches or external approval to feel whole. While the world teaches you to fight and struggle to hide your pain under layers of consolation, we are going to seek the alignment and flow that only the naked truth can offer. It is an invitation to collapse the timeline of your pain and flourish in the urgency of the now. Perhaps you are going through a moment where everything seems meaningless, where the answers that once worked now sound hollow and distant. Today's theme is an invitation. Between seeking the truth and seeking comfort, why do we choose the latter and call it conviction? As Wayne Dyer said, we are only one thought away from a new reality, but to reach it, we must stop using the mirror to try and change our face. The change you long for so much won't come from a new external setting, but from a new light shining upon the scenery you already inhabit. The problem with choosing comfort over truth operates on three levels. On the physical level, it creates muscle tension and psychosomatic illnesses. On the mental level, it creates confusion, noise, and constant anxiety. And on the spiritual level, it blocks your direct connection to the source. Think about the engineering of life. Just as an airplane begins with a precise mental design before becoming heavy metal, your external reality is merely the rough draft of your internal truth. You are stuck in the cycle of seeing is believing, looking for external signs of improvement before changing your fundamental vibration. This is what keeps you trapped in the illusion of comfort, believing that a safe harbor is the shore, when, in fact, it is the ability to navigate. This stagnation happens because comfort is like a thermal blanket on a stormy night. It warms the skin, but it doesn't quiet the thunder roaring outside. We live in a state where we frequently call our psychological defenses faith, and our emotional escapes peace of mind. In Buddhism, we learn that attachment to pleasant sensations is the deepest root of human suffering. Choosing comfort is choosing paralysis under the guise of safety, ignoring that true peace is not the absence of the storm, but the silence that remains untouched at its center. Real spirituality requires you to leave the safe riverbank to understand that you are the flow itself. Are you seeking the light or just running from the dark? Often, this escape happens because the truth demands a breakthrough. It isn't a fine-tuning of your life. It is a controlled demolition of your oldest and most cherished certainties. As Jiddu Krishnamurti taught, freedom begins when we realize how desperately we are tethered to the known, to what is familiar to us. This breakthrough carries a cost: the loss of the idealized image we created of ourselves and the loss of illusory control over life. Personal development is often sold as the addition of new skills, but spiritual awakening is, in truth, a rigorous subtraction of illusions. Truth reveals itself in the fertile void that remains when we finally stop telling ourselves convenient stories. But to cross this river of deconstruction, we don't need more effort. We need a new internal code of conduct. The first pillar is detachment. Stop reacting to the chaos of your superficial emotions and the bombardment of others' expectations. Silence isn't absence. It is where the voice of the self begins to be heard with crystal clarity. By silencing the noise of the ego that cries out for immediate relief, you allow the intelligence of the universe to reorganize your perceptions beyond fear. This silence is the magician's first tool of power, for it is within it that lies lose their foundation and reality begins to reveal itself without filters, pure and transformative. The second pillar is internal calibration. Prepare your body and mind to sustain the frequency of truth, without the addictive need for emotional anesthetics. You aren't incapable for preferring comfort. You are just operating under a reverse logic, trying to change the reflection without ever touching the original source. Carl Jung reminds us with precision that we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making our own darkness conscious. If you fake a peace you do not feel, your biology and your vibrational field will respond to that dishonesty. Healing begins exactly where you stop fighting what you feel and start observing what is, with compassion and steadiness. This observation leads us to the third pillar, cleansing. Remove the emotional and spiritual crutches you've used to walk this far. Cleansing happens naturally when we stop feeding the lies that comfort us, but secretly weaken us. When you stop seeking the world's embrace or constant validation for your convictions, you discover an inner strength that doesn't depend on any external circumstance to exist. Truth does not abandon you in the cold of the unknown. It teaches you that you are the very fire that warms the path. It is the definitive transition from someone who survives to someone who becomes conscious presence itself in the world. Finally, we arrive at the conscious response. From now on, when faced with every challenge, ask yourself, do I want the anesthetic that keeps me sleeping in a gilded cage, or the medicine that wakes me up, even if its taste is bitter at first? By reversing the order and prioritizing truth over comfort, what used to take decades to heal can be dissolved in weeks. This is what we call time collapse on the soul's journey, where evolution is no longer linear, but a quantum leap of consciousness. Living with spiritual authority means acting based on what vibrates within your deepest essence, and not on what the outside world validates as success, prestige, or momentary happiness. Always remember, don't touch the mirror, touch the soul. The change in the reflection of your external life is an inevitable and natural consequence of your internal courage. The soul isn't in a hurry. It has a rhythm, and it knows exactly when you are ready for the next portal. And today, the rhythm suggests that you let go, once and for all, of the anchors of easy comfort. If the world seems to be tilting or losing its balance around you, perhaps it's because you've finally stopped carrying the weight of what isn't true. And what if the pain you feel today is, in fact, the final portal to the life you've always searched for? To seal this awakening, take a deep breath, feeling the air as the wind of presence that cleanses every corner of your inner temple. Imagine your hands holding all the comfortable certainties and old beliefs that have kept you trapped until now. Now, exhale slowly and imagine those hands opening like an invisible knot that finally comes undone. Feel the void that forms. Do not be afraid of it. The void is not a lack or a scarcity. It is the womb of the sacred, the space of all possibilities, where your new and powerful truth is blossoming at this very moment. If these words touched something within you, perhaps it is time to take one more step on this path of reconnecting with your inner truth. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue receiving content that nourishes the soul with presence and authenticity. Share in the comments what resonated with your heart. Your story might be the mirror someone else needed to find. If you are looking for a safe harbor, know that our community is the sanctuary where fertile silence is shared and deepened. Enjoy the posts on the channel. And to keep expanding this field of presence, we suggest the video pinned in the card. May it be a source of inspiration on your journey. Peace and light.